Yes, sir. Yes, we are live.
Yeah.
So, good morning, everyone, from Atharva Institute of Management Studies, and I welcome you to IT Talks. Well, IT Talks is an IT awareness programming powered by IQAC. IQAC is an internal quality assurance cell. Through this, we have arranged this IT awareness program initiated by us. We students and faculty member of IT department tries to reach out everyone within the institute as well as outside the institute, where we will discuss general topics related to IT and tries to clear all the doubts. That's why we think there is a need of IT awareness in India and we want to share our knowledge. So we invite people who can tell us more. Well, my name is Chinmay Vanmali. I'm a student of Atharva Institute of Management Studies and a techno enthusiast. In the previous episode, Ms. Reshma Mathur ma'am shared knowledge on studying in Canada and reasons for refusals. And now we are excited to introduce IT Talk Show episode number 8. In this, we will try to make this experience more enjoyable and informative to all. But before beginning, I would like to wish you, sir, a very, very belated happy birthday.
Thank you so much, Chinmay.
Okay. All right. So, gentlemen, today we have with us a recognized speaker. He is a senior vice president and country head CRE, admin and infrastructure Sarkar. He is a board member infra enriched with more than 20 plus years of experience into diverse roles of facility management, administration, sources, real estate. Apart from this, he has received recognition on various occasions in regards to leadership and eminent speaker. He was also featured as one of the India's best facility head in a magazine, Commercial Design, ITP. And with that, I'm honored to introduce the recipient of the Indian Achievers Award, none other than Dr. Abhijeet Sarkar.
Thank you, Chinmay, for this wonderful explanation of mine. And good morning, guys. My name is Dr. Abhijeet. As Chinmay has already given a elaborate description about me. As you are a student, I am also a student. Because life is always a journey wherein continuous learning cycle never ends. You have a different learning segment. I have my different learning segment, but the learning process should not stop, and that is what I have always kept in my mind. I'm also board member of various education institutions, and I try to just contribute my bit to the community and to the fraternity and for the students. So today I'm here to give you insights on the real estate trend, and I'm a very tech savvy guy, so whatever technology real estate trend is adapting, so I would like to share whatever insight the time permits to share with you guys. So now over to you, Chinmay, and you can take it over.
All right, sir. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's begin with today's topic, which is real estate trends in lieu of COVID. So, the first question I would like to ask you, sir, is how coronavirus has transformed the real estate market for sellers.
Okay. Chinmay, I will take you guys to almost one and a half year back, December 2019. We see that, there is a coronavirus which has been, declared as a pandemic in China. And post that, most of the facility managers across the country have started tapping what's happening around the world. And as we as the time passed, we felt that the consequences are going to be very serious, and apparently it really amounted to be very serious consequences. So apart from major industries that has been impacted, like hospitality, which is the largest impacted industry, then we have supply chain, which is badly impacted, and one of the major reason for the impact in supply chain is technology, for sure. And then the other industry which contributes significant amount to the GDP of country's growth is real estate, and that has also been impacted largely. And if you see the mindset of seller, that has transformed, the dynamic has changed completely. And how it has impacted the seller, it has really impacted the seller to a larger extent. So now if you have to see the definition of selling, I will have to divide it into two parts: selling per se as an outright purchase, and selling on a rental basis, and both the elements are impacted. Those occupy those buyer or the investors who felt that the property is not going to be absorbed for a longer time, because what happened, the entire transaction for 1.5 year has come to a standstill. And if you see, the transaction rate in 1.5 year has fallen down by 60%. So there is no transaction happening because people are more inclined to wait and watch what is going to happen, and many industries were not able to function. So the absorption or signing of a lease or buying a property has always been a challenge for many of the corporates. So now what has happened, seller is in dilemma. He has invested a huge amount of money, and apparently there is no ROI because there are no rentals. There is no buyer or an occupier who would like to take his money. We don't have any avenue. So in order to avoid the liquidity crunch, what he has done, he has to sell the property at whatever price he could get from the market. So basically it has impacted the buyer to a larger extent to buy most of the property that are quite a competitive prices. But for seller, it was really a challenging time. In order to avoid the harassment from banks, or in order to avoid the recovery concerns, most of the sellers have started those sellers who have substantial financial power. For them, it was never a concern. It was always an investment for them. But for small time investors, it really was a concern, and they don't have any opportunity but to give away their property at the price which the buyer is demanding. Now, when I talk about the seller on a rental, sellers have been impacted drastically because many of the corporates have to shut down their business, and apparently the offices were surrendered. Many of the corporates have demonstrated that since the offices are not functional, there is no revenue and there is no avenue to pay the rental. So that's how the sellers mindset was disturbed. Now it's very important for us as a corporate that we need to ensure that sustainability of everybody, including the seller or the landlords. So what many organizations did, it has to be a win-win situation. So most of the trend that was followed during this period was many organizations did execute or extend their lease, but with the revised terms. Whatever the prevailing rate was, the market has changed drastically. Even if you were paying 100 rupees, that has fallen down to 60-65 rupees, and the landlord was in a position to offer those kind of discounts to ensure that the cash flow continues. So this was the trend followed by most of the organizations who were in the mode of BAU. Now coming to the sustainability part of the landlord, it also became very important for most of the organization to ensure that there is a long-term engagement which is being done. So many organizations also did a long-term commitment to the landlord with the revised lease rate. The escalation which were given at 10% per annum were reduced to 5% or 3%. So the whole dynamics of the commercial change, and apparently it was very important for the seller to earn a minimal profit, but to ensure that their commitment towards their bankers keeps on going. So rather than ensuring that the properties are vacant and then the occupancy chances are very meager, most of the landlord did happily adapted to this change so that the sustainability part continues. So this is how the seller side was impacted.
All right, sir. That was really great. Next, I would like to ask, under construction commercial real estate projects are facing stress. So how COVID-19 has accelerated the change in real estate industry, sir?
Under construction has been impacted only because of COVID. If you see the figures or the research or the statistic reports of 2019, real estate was emerging, and it was emerging like anything. We have seen the highest absorption rate of the country that has happened in 2019. With expectation was 2020, 2021 would really reach the heights, but unfortunately, and since the demand was high, there were lot of new projects which has been initiated, but unfortunately COVID has hit the entire globe, and it has also badly impacted our country, and real estate was badly impacted. The major reason was most of the sites, we still work with the conventional way of working, and apparently in lieu of lockdown and the the restriction of social distancing limited to the development to a larger extent, most of the projects which were almost in the verge of completion they somehow were able to complete, the project when we got the flexibility of unlocking gradually from the government 6 months back. But the project which were on a very preliminary or an interim stage, they are still badly impacted because the migrant laborers are a concern, and getting a labor at this point of time is really a challenge, because we have the lockdowns are very, a lockdown, then there is a unlocking, and there is again a lockdown, and there is a severe security and safety concerns for this migrant labor. So now most of the migrant laborers are back to their natives, and with social distancing you are not able to hold maximum number of labor. So what happens, the work which is required to be done by 10 labor will be done by 2 or 3 labors. So that will
Yes.
definitely add significant value to your cost.
Yes.
So not no point of time builder would like to take initiative to ensure that he starts the development with a substantial cost. And again, ensuring the hygiene factor, you don't know, from where these migrant laborers would be coming, and of how many people you would like to give an accommodation, so that's again a concern. So if somebody falls sick, he will make the entire community sick, because working in a construction site with mask and everything is next to impossible. So there are a lot of, hygiene, safety, and the mindset concern which has impacted the real estate project, and most of the projects have come to a standstill. Then again, secondary thing is the fear of absorption, because the developer are well aware that even if I develop this building and put my investment, is there a chance that my property is going to be taken by any of the buyer or the investor? Because today most of the corporate houses are just waiting and watching the situation, and work from home has become a new trend. So they are trying to explore that how are we going to enhance the efficiency out of this fundamental. If you see, 40% of the business or the stakeholders in the Indian real estate market are ITITs and the BPO companies. And most of the companies are working as an essential services right from day one, but everybody is working from home. And they have got the flavor that you don't require. And these were the companies who were having offices with larger floor plates. So now they feel that the technology is enough to ensure that they are able to manage the show without having a physical presence in office. Physical presence can be restricted to only certain activities, and the real estate costs can be saved. So that's the mindset which people are going through as of now. And with this mindset, the developers are not in a position to start the pending project. So there are a lot of elements which are attributed. One could be the mindset of the industry, and second could be the hygiene factor and the mindset of the labor who are not able or willing to come and start the work. So this is how the situation.
All right. There is a net issue in between. Okay. Now you're,
Okay,
yeah,
you are on
now
mute.
you're properly live.
Mhm.
Okay. So
Yeah,
next I would like to
yeah,
ask,
yeah.
if we talk about future growth of real estate, then what trends will last?
Chinmay, if you refer my earlier statement, the trends are definitely going to change. Whereas we see, in Europe and US, work from home was never a, new concept. It was always a concept in lieu of the fact that, people would like to give priority to their work-life balance. And secondly, people are more inclined towards their responsibility towards the environment. Since, work from office definitely attributes a lot of carbon emission, and it doesn't allow to eliminate, but it enhance the carbon emission. So in that scenario, most of the European countries encourages the work from home culture, because it also continues to be as a business continuity. Today we have seen businesses are running in spite of fact that 100% of the strength working from home. So the trend in future is definitely going to be different. I don't talk about normal, new normal, old normal, but the mindset of the corporates have changed, and they have saying that instead of spending money on the huge floor plates, they can spend that money for other employee engagement. See, definitely the employee engagement is going to continue, and it is going to continue on a larger scale. But then they are of the opinion that employees are happy with this work from anywhere or work from home concept. And then in such scenario, definitely we will see that the absorption rate or the vacancy rate will fall by 2023 to a larger extent. The research reports by various bodies clearly demonstrate that as compared to 2019, 2023 would see that the vacancies have gone up by 20%. So that's an indication that most of the corporates would not be inclined to sign a new deal, and they would definitely try to give away the existing places. So that's the trend. The trend is going to be, it's not work from home. Many organizations are also coming with a culture of work from anywhere, wherein considering the IT security and other technology aspects, they make you quite capable of working from anywhere. The demographics are going to enhance. Today, if I have to operate in Mumbai, I have to look for a candidate who is based out of Mumbai. The talent has to be from Mumbai, and many a time, based on various parameters, we are not able to get a good talent, matching the skill set of their profile. But especially, if I'm looking for a profile which I understand that the major talent for that profile will be available from Bangalore, but then getting a resource from Bangalore to Mumbai is always a challenge, because people are not very inclined to resettle, and if they want to resettle, the cost or the budgeted cost for most of the organization goes up. So that's the hustle. But today, with the technology coming into picture, and with the work from home culture getting a new trend shape and approval from most of the organizations, the demographics are no limit. You can hire a candidate anywhere in country, whether it is northeast, whether it is whether it's far east, anywhere. There is no demographic, and today there is no limitation. The work life balance is going to be very significant. In case you have to travel to your native place, you can voluntarily travel and work from there. So it's like that you are getting an opportunity to engage more socially towards your family, towards your friends, towards your circle. At the same time, you are able to contribute to your organization, so productivity is going to get enhanced. So in lieu of such scenario, the organizations, 90% of the organizations have been taking a stand of the fact that work from anywhere is definitely a new trend, and many industry body, I am working with most of them in very close manner. Well, we are very well seeing that the future trend will be work from home, and definitely the footprint of the real estate is going to fall down substantially. So that's the scenario. But then I don't say that real estate market is going to be getting eliminated. Real estate market will flourish. While we focus on Atmanirbhar, there are a lot of new industries coming into picture. So definitely real estate will shape up in a different form. Maybe it will not be a commercial building, but it can be a commercial hub. As we see the way e-commerce has flourished, and e-commerce is going to be a new trend, and it is going to be dependency for many in future. So e-commerce needs to work with the larger warehouses, larger, and very distributed warehouses. So that's how we will see that the real estate getting transformed. So far as organization is concerned, the new hybrid model will come into picture. People will not necessarily required to come to office, but people can work from anywhere, including any of their network offices. For example, I have got an head office in Dadar, and there is a branch office in Thane. I would definitely go to Thane and work rather than going to head office. Maybe one of day I will work from home, one of day I will go to the other, and one of day I will sit in Thane. So that's the level of flexibility we are getting. But whereas real estate is concerned, the industry is definitely going to change, and we will see the development happening more on the residential side, more on the commercial side, on a different category, different segment. So that's the future look like.
All right, sir. Talking about Atmanirbhar Bharat, next I would like to ask how Atmanirbhar Bharat 3.0 package is beneficial for individuals, especially who are planning to purchase new residential property, sir.
Chinmay, for the buyer, it's very important to know that Atmanirbhar Bharat has certain criteria. It is allowed only to those buyers who would like to buy the property within 2 crores. And the second criteria is the scheme is as of now applicable only till June 2021. So we are not aware of the new norms or the new changes that going to come. But as of now, these are the two limitations. But yes, this is going to definitely help the buyer sentiment, and we have seen ever since this scheme was announced, there are a lot of transaction on the residential side which has taken place. So now if we have to interpret the Atmanirbhar Bharat, what is that, why people are more inclined to go for that scheme? The scheme is government is allowing 20% of income tax rebate on the circle rate. So when you talk about circle rate, as a buyer or a seller, you should know that when you get into any real estate transaction, you have to there is a certain particular rate which is benchmarked by the authority, and that's the rate which has to be registered, and that has an implement with the local authority and the registering authority, and based on that your property assessment towards the income tax is done. For example, if I pre-COVID stage before the Atharva Bharat 3 version has come, prior to that, if you have to transact or buy any property, for an example, if you buy a property for 30 lakh and the market and the circle rate is 40 lakh, so there is a difference of 10 lakh. So up to a 10% of deviation is allowed, but anything over and above 10% is considered to be a profit, and it's a profit to a buyer. So buyer was supposed to pay income tax on that, the balance amount. So now government has enhanced the percentage from 10 to 20, wherein your liability towards income tax has gone down further. So that is giving you an opportunity to go ahead and buy property, and we have seen that there are a lot of transactions which have happened during this period.
Okay. So next, I would like to ask, like, how COVID-19 has taught companies, especially about activities like CSR, corporate social responsibilities.
Uh, COVID-19 definitely has taught the organization, their importance towards their community and their, towards the environment as such. CSR is not definitely confined to, your social responsibility towards the community, but it's also towards your, environment to a larger extent. We have seen many corporates who were not actively participating have voluntarily come ahead and done a lot of charitable acts, irrespective whether they get income tax benefit or not. But because we have seen during the time when COVID was a thing, there were a lot of challenges or a shortage of various product like PPE kit, which was mandatory for the healthline worker, and the governing bodies or the various corporations were not able to source it. So various corporates like us also have come ahead, and although we are very passionate about CSR, and but then most of the corporates have come ahead and ensure that they do their bit for the company during this period. So contribution of PPE kit, contribution of sanitizer, contribution of thermal scanning machine. So there are lot of things which they have done to ensure that the health worker or the frontline worker who are working are on ground are safe. When we talk about the sustainability part, people have realized that COVID is a result of our own fault. We have not been able to respect our mother earth, and that's how that the mother earth has backfired us. And the moment we stop respecting, we have started seeing the surge coming up. So we still need to understand that the nature needs to be preserved for our own sake. God has created this world for us, and if we are unable to respect the globe or the Mother Earth, Mother Earth is supposed to take care of us. How will she take care of us? So during this COVID period, when most of the organizations were working from home, they realized that during this period we were able to substantially contribute towards the CO2 emission, because your air conditioners were not working, your electricity was not working, and you were working with a very minimal air condition and electricity which requires only to support your data center or to cater to the need of few people. The level of CO2 has gone down, and in lieu of people not traveling, the CO2 emission has come down. We have seen instances when the Himalaya also could be seen from Punjab. So that's the impact of COVID, which brought us in 2 months of time. So organization has started working on the fundamentals that whenever they buy a property, they will ensure that if at all it is meant for 100 people, buy it for 40 people. The reason is buying it for 100 people definitely add the cost of electricity, add the cost of other factor which is required to which can disrupt the nature. So they will definitely down contribute their reducing the electricity current and by reducing the carbon emission. Work from home is the culture why we are encouraging to ensure that people travel least, and that's how the environmental pollution is reduced, and that's how we are able to add value to the nature and to the health and safety of the people around. So these are some of the examples which most of the corporates are contemplating and emphasizing to ensure that they contribute their bit by whatever best way they can for the community and for the environment.
Absolutely, sir. Should take care of our nature. And next, I would like to ask, there is a word, very trending word, prop tech. Like how prop tech, which is quite similar to fintech, is used in real estate marketing.
See, I will tell you, I have seen this industry since last 20 years. When I joined this portfolio, I was working as a, in a personal and administration department, wherein everything was worked on a notebook. And even the secretaries we used to see the culture of a secretary, where, she used to take a dictation and type a letter in a typewriter. Gradually, then came a time when we saw computers coming in, and computers was only given to out of 1,000, only 4 or 5 people would get eligible for computers. And we always were thinking, the day I get a computer, probably I will reach a position or a status in community that yes, I have a computer with me. Then we got computer, then we felt I should get a laptop, and the day I get a laptop, I will have some pride in community. So the technology started emerging, and gradually we seen the concept of smart building coming into picture. It was only because of fact that most of the IT, ITS, and BPO companies started concentrating their base in India. And with this, concentration coming to India, we started seeing that most of the, building converted into a conventional to smart. So when we talk about smart building, smart building is a completely technologically enabled building, which talks to, which talks to people, which talks to each other, which the technology talks to each other. So that's how the technology was emerging almost 15 days back. But when we talk about prop tech, smart building is not only an example. There are various other platforms also in prop tech which has really made things easier for buyer and seller as such. A decade back, if I have to scout for a property in Delhi, it was required for me to go and see the property physically, then start the negotiation, then start the understanding of rate, what the market talks about, then start the process of due diligence. And the whole process would have taken 1.5 months, adding value, adding significant attribution to the cost, and delay in any kind of implementation. But Proctave has gradually eliminated this. Real estate was construed to be a very unorganized and a very conventional sector, but with gradually, slowly, and steadily technology being adapted, we have seen this sector getting quite tech enabled, and it's adding a lot of value to most of us all around. So PropTech talks about various analytics, including data analytics. It gives you various information. And remember, PropTech is not confined to commercial. PropTech is also extended to an individual relationship, the relationship between a landlord and tenant. PropTech can be extended to a gated community, the residential complex where you are staying. PropTech can play a significant part. It can manage your end-to-end real estate need, right from visitor entry, exit, right from paying your utility bill, right from vouching the notices which the building authorities are installing, right from lodging your complaint, right from ensuring that you communicate with the community. Everything is being covered under this platform. When you talk about commercial, everything is available on the platform. You have seen Magic Bricks and other platforms are coming out with various informative sections and various analytics, wherein if I have to look for a property anywhere in country, I get the entire historical data. What is the current rate available? What is the historical rate? What was the what is the growth prospect of that place? Because many a time 15 years back, we were not aware about what could be a future prospect. Today we have seen tier 2 city, 3 cities have also gone into a significant development. Had we known that, some of us would have gone and invested money there. In case the value is hardly anything today, but what is the return of investment you are going to get after 3 years? So that's what Proctave talk about. Proctave gives you the current value vis-a-vis the earlier transacted value, for you to enable that what is the rate I should negotiate. Every data analytics in terms of documentation, because Proctave also works on cloud. So getting a document for due diligence is just a finger away from you. Earlier, you have to be at mercy of a landlord. He will take a Xerox, he will courier you. Now nothing is required. You can straight away log into the portal and download the document, and legal can validate and scan and just finish off whether the property is valid or not. So PropTech is adding it playing very key important role in communicating with your customers. In case your customers are very key investors, there are a lot of PropTech can send them a kind of real time analysis in terms of infrastructure or real estate investment, so that the buyer and the investor is well aware of what are the industrial trend and where he should invest. If the potential today looks to be in Assam, and he although the emerging market is West Bengal, but he will say, rather than investing in West Bengal, if I invest a smaller value in Assam, I get a higher return than what I would get in West Bengal. So that's how the technology platform is playing key part in this real estate trade, in the real estate world.
Okay, sir, we have got a question from Abhinay Kardile.
Okay.
Okay, he's asking, work from home culture affects other businesses. What's your opinion, sir? How to come up with it for X unorganized sector?
See, we as of now, if if you see what kind of unorganized sector you are referring to, if you can cite, I can give you the example based reply.
Okay. Next. So shall we move next? Okay. Next, I would like to ask you, sir, what is building permit?
The building permit is basically, a permission which you are required to take from the building authorities while executing any project. And why it is required? It is required to ensure that you are able to respect the, local building codes, and you don't end up, getting into any kind of prejudice to the local law.
All right. Why building permit is required, sir?
Okay. I want you to answer this. Why you require a license for driving a vehicle?
It's legal actually if I have it.
No. Legal is everything. If you, but why you require only after 18 years? Why not before 18 years?
To show that I'm expert now in driving.
Not only expert. The objective of giving a license is you take care of all the rules and regulations, considering that you are a safe driver. You take care of the safety protocols. The license means you are able to drive a vehicle safety without harming anybody. The people, because you are on a driver's seat, but people who are on the road, they are exposed to a threat. If you are not able to drive properly, they are exposed to your style of driving. So the same applies to a building permit. It is required. In case you don't take a building permit, you end up getting into a situation wherein there could be a physical loss to your own employees, physical loss to the property. Because what happens, there are, when you develop, and again, it can delay a project. For example, we see these kind of buildings like the LEED certificate, platinum certificate, so on and so forth. These buildings are constructed with lot of parameters. Like, if I am working in an unconventional building, I can use 1000 square feet of area for 20 people. But LEED certified has got their own nomenclature. And when you work in a LEED certified building, 1000 square feet would be applicable only for 7 people. Why? Because these buildings are designed to create a sustainable environment. So when you work for 20 people, the electricity given or consumed is for 20 people. So you are consuming a larger electricity. Whereas in a LEED certified building, the same floor plate is given to 7 people. You are consuming lower air condition, you are consuming lower energy, and your lower level of less level of people are traveling. So that's how you are adding value to sustainability. So what happens if you don't take a permit? What happens? The authority will come and straight away they will demolish your property, or they will come and inspect that you have done something, and the requirement provided to you will not cater to your business need. Because if you have been given with 5 kilowatt of power, whereas you are planning to make an office for 20 people and you require a demand of 20 kilowatt, you're not able to function. You have developed an office, but that's going to be unoccupied because the infrastructure is not supporting. So a permit is definitely required to ensure that you fall in line with the National Building Code or various other codes which have been defined by the government and implemented from time to time. It's more about your employee safety, because when you do building, there are a lot of activities which is done by laborers who are illiterate people. So their own safety is at stake if they don't follow the protocols. Like for example, wearing of helmet, wearing a safety belt while doing a
Yeah.
facade cleaning. These are paramount. If and while doing keeping a fire extinguisher while doing a welding work. So there are two kind of permits, hot and cold. So while you do, we have seen instances when people without permit have gone ahead and done a welding work on site, and in lieu of absence of fire extinguishers, there was a blast of cylinder, and apparently that made two or three people get badly injured. Had there been a building permit, first thing is there would have been a supervision, and when the permits are given, it is given with certain parameters. Nobody will allow to start the work unless they see what kind of uh, precautions you are saying. Unless the building authority comes and sees that your people are wearing hand gloves, that the people are wearing face shield, that people are wearing helmets, that people are using fire extinguisher, they will not allow you to start the work. Work permit doesn't mean that they will merely issue a work permit, because the moment they issue the work permit, the ownership lies on the building authority to ensure that the
So,
vendor who does the work is rules and regulation of the work permit. It's same as the license. When you are driving a vehicle, definitely there is a random check by a police cop, and he checks whether you are having a license or not. It doesn't mean that when license is given, it is blanketly understood that everybody who is driving a vehicle has a license. So there is also an ownership on the authority to ensure and check whether everybody who is driving a vehicle is having a license or not, no randomly. But in building management, it is a routine work for the building management to go and check as per schedule whether the works are in line with the permit conditions.
yes, all right. So it's about safety. But I want to ask, what happens if work starts without one?
You cannot start the work without any building permit, even if you do so, because nowadays buildings are very stringent, and they will not allow you to start the work without a permit. But the moment, presuming you over building authorities oversee, or the building is not strict enough to monitor your work, but it may happen that if you start the work and if somebody complains, it's not the building authority, but it's the municipal authority, or anybody from fire brigade comes and see that you are working and you are not working as per the building norm, or even if you are working as per OS protocols without a permit, he will stop your work and make you pay penalty. So what happens? It impacts your work, it impacts time, it impacts money, and it impacts your brand value, because you are considered to be as a defaulter. And tomorrow, when any seller or any buyer who want to buy this property, he will get into a due diligence, and this due diligence, this kind of record by PropTech coming into picture, are very well aware in the portal, because everything is interconnected. So in that case, buyer will undervalue your property, saying this developer has must be booked up to a larger extent, and we'll have to spend enough of money to do a due diligence. So definitely, I will revalue the property, then giving an appreciation, I will try to depreciate the property, and builder is at the seller is at his mercy. So if you prejudice any norms of a work permit, definitely you end up facing a consequences which is going to impact you, and it can be a criminal offense as well.
Okay. So this was about building permit. Next question I would like to ask you, sir, like how you see the role of facility manager who manages property has changed in the lieu of COVID.
Oh, that's a very fascinated questions to me. Facility management role has changed, and it has changed drastically. And apparently, I have seen, as I say, March 22nd, government declares a lockdown, and the facility managers are on field. And though we talk about healthcare and all the people as a frontline worker, even facility managers also belong to that category of people who are a frontline worker. Uh, if you see, since last 1 year, nothing is stopped. Everything is going on, except for certain industries which have been impacted. Otherwise, it is not that economy is as badly as impacted as it was seen. But how this has happened, how you will run the offices, when in December, when we saw, China declaring a lockdown, and it is, and when we subsequently saw, WHO declaring this as a pandemic, we were well aware that this pandemic is definitely going to impact the globe, and we were definitely not aware that India would stand second in the chart. You know, so but then we were all ready. We thought that there can be a situation, since Europe and China has declared a lockdown. It means, if there is a lockdown, it means you are just restricted. You are not able to do anything. So we are the owner of a building. We are the owner of managing safety, and we are an owner of managing safety and security. So earlier, the role of facility manager was just confined to only, certain nomenclature. It is like, housekeeping, cafeteria, so on and so forth. But post COVID, the role of facility manager has gone much beyond what it used to be. And I am proudly, saying that if at all the globe remembers COVID, they will also remember the contribution made by the facility manager, because the way they have been able to maintain the whole building. Hygiene is paramount, and if and your employee will come to office only when he is having a comfort level that his facility manager has ensured every safety protocol in the office. The protocol is not about office. The protocol is about how the employee is transported from his home to office. The level of safety measures which the facility manager is taking, the level of protocols which the facility manager makes others follow in office, and the measures, the level of discipline which the facility manager imposes on others. It's uh, facility manager is like mother and father. He has to take care of the whole
Absolutely.
community, and it is not only taking care of employees. It is taking care of everyone, including his housekeeping supervisor, his janitors, and everyone who are there on site. So the role of facility manager has changed, and the definition of hygiene or wellness has gone to a multi-level fold. And definitely COVID will go today. It is not here to stay long, but the role of facility manager will continue to grow, because people have realized what is the significance of the wellness and employee safety. So that's how where facility manager will add significant value, because there is a trust which people have gained on you. So the role is not going to be the same which was prevailing. You are not merely managing housekeeping. You are going to manage much beyond housekeeping, because your offices now will be transformed into various categories. You will have health clubs. You will have gymnasium. You will have creche. Not every organization used to have, but now most of the organization, when they see that their properties are lying idle, they will try to transform it into something or other wherein the employees engagement gets enhanced. So the role of facility manager is definitely going to change significantly.
Absolutely, sir. One last question I would like to ask, like, what do you
Hmm.
see the prospect of tech in facility management?
Tech is not a something new in the facility management, because ever since this commercial building which transformed from conventional to smart building, we have seen that technology is already trending. It's not that technology was never prevailing, but technology was always trending. And only thing is, I call upon, I keep on speaking to the management graduates or various engineering platforms. Facility manager today don't have people who can understand tech. They don't understand. Today technology is much smarter than you. And in case you want employee to experience the facility management, you should be able to compete technology. And then that's where we are lacking. And if you see, the smart buildings were constructed almost 15 years back, and these buildings were constructed with an objective that people would get a significant return of investment, not only attributing to the sustainability, but these are considered to be a very economical building in terms of their operational overhead, like their energy cost, and which is the one of the major overhead for every organization, was expected to be reduced drastically if the building would have followed the the BMS interpretation. But unfortunately, today we don't have qualitative people who can analyze the whole data and interpret and ask the the occupiers to synchronize themselves. But technology is definitely emerging. We will see a lot of IoT and robotics coming into picture. In fact, many companies have started adopting IoT with the concept of hot desking coming into picture, wherein you can do everything from your mobile phone. You can just book your workstation on a collaborative workspace and go to office. Everything is through, you don't require a security guard. Show a QR code, the door will give you an access. Similarly, we will see that when a facility head is managing his function, out of 4 human people, he will have will be reporting to him, and robots will be engaging into various activities. We have seen in European countries management. Even in India, one of the IPCs has got a robot who is managing the front desk. Chatbots, they are going to, and machine learning, they are going to take over larger role. See, at the end of the day, it is value and experience. The better experience you give it to your employee, the millennials who would like to see this experience, you people who would like to see how technology welcomes you when you go to office. And apparently, the experience that we try to create will not only reduce our cost substantially, because it eliminates the wastage. What we are doing today, we are replicating the task, whereas technology has got imitating what we can do, and in much efficient way. For an example, if at all I have to do a processing of a utility bill, I require 4 people to do that, but the moment I bring it on a technology platform, I can do it by 1 people. And that's what I've done. I've tried in my organization while I was with ICICI Bank, and I have implemented that, and that's working successfully. So that's the flavor of technology. Technology can give you an experience, technology can reduce the cost, and technology can increase the accuracy of work. It can add to a qualitative output. And apparently, like for an example, if I have to travel as a traveler, I don't have to speak to somebody in my travel desk team. I can just message to a requirement to my chatbot, and the chatbot can reply to my every query. So if at all I require a boarding pass, I will give my preference to chatbot, or chatbot apparently from the data, because chatbots have got ability to evaluate data. They will pick up my historical data, and they will definitely issue me a boarding pass, as per my preferences. If I require, I'll sit. They will ensure that the boarding pass that comes to me in collaboration with the travel agent comes to me with my preference. The bill, everything is something which chatbots will do. So we have seen even during COVID period, most of the banks have moved from a platform of a manual CRM to a chatbot. So that's the level of technology we see. Technology is emerging, and it is already there in facility management. But then as we grow, we have understood that in COVID, if something failed, it was only the lack of technology supporting us. People who organizations who never adapted to technology have to struggled a lot, but the organizations who are already 100% on technology succeeded without any compromise. So technology is something which the facility managers will have to adapt, but
Yeah.
unfortunately we don't have the quality that they can upskill themselves, and the change of mindset is paramount. So for all the people over here, don't overlook facility management as a very different profession, or not a profession where you can explore your career. Because in my team, I have got 3 electrical engineers and 1 architect who is working with me, although it's a facility management, because electricity is a major portfolio which we are holding, and these electrical engineers play a larger role in managing a facility. The architect, since we are into retail, we keep on building the offices. The architect has to play a significant role in validating the layout through an AutoCAD. So it's not that architect has to work like a profession independent, freelancer. He can also work with the corporate, and try adding value to the organization and to himself. So technology is emerging, and definitely it will play very important role for the facility managers going ahead.
Right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have discussed the real estate trends in the lieu of COVID. With that, I would like to thank Dr. Abhijeet Sarkar, sir, for giving us valuable time and having an impactful discussion today.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Chinmay. And thank you to Dr. Shubhi and Atharva Institute of Management Studies for giving me an opportunity to speak. And I would recommend students to, touch base with me with an expressive question. I have not seen any questions coming out except one, but then I would need some more insight on those questions to give an explicit answer. And I would love to, answer that query. But then I want the person who has raised that query to come to me and ask in detail. I would love to answer him one-on-one. And for others also who would like to understand this sector in detail, they can connect with me on LinkedIn, or they can connect with me on WhatsApp. I would be happy to help them out in their career
Okay, so
counseling
you
or
can.
any other information they require. So be free to connect with me on any platform. I'm always there for you guys.
All right. So, if anyone has question, they can connect with sir on
Yeah, yeah,
LinkedIn.
yeah. They can LinkedIn or a WhatsApp, whatever it is. I would be
Yeah.
happy to answer to their question. Let them
All right.
come ahead and question, explicitly. I would, because I am very keen to, connect with people, students. And in case of any clarity required, they can connect me anytime. That's not a problem.
All right. So also I would like to thank Sri Sunil Rane sir, Executive President, Atharva Group of Institutes, Dr. R.G. Ratnawat sir, Director AIMS, and Dr. Shubhilal Agarwal ma'am, Director IQAC, Internal Quality Assurance Cell, Atharva Institute of Management Studies, and guiding us and avail us a chance to introduce IT Talk Show to all. Well, thank you all for joining us and stay tuned for the upcoming IT Talk Show episode. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.